Good afternoon and welcome to BarbWire Strategy. The theme of this show is Ruth died. Ruth died. It's a sad thing that she died. It's a sad thing that when anybody dies, but the fact is Ruth did die. I want to say first off that a lot of people that I know are saying that they're happy that Ruth died. They're cheering it on. I don't necessarily agree with this. I'm not saying that I wanted Ruth to retire from the court. I didn't necessarily want her to die. Strategically speaking, since this is BarbWire Strategy, when she should have retired would have been back in Obama's first term of office after he was elected in 2008 and took office in 2009. Right after 2009, 2010, when the Democrats held the House and the Senate, that was the time when she could have gone ahead and resigned safely. Obama would have appointed another liberal in to take her place. She chose not to do that. She waited until the second part of his term. By that time, the House and the Senate were both owned by the Republicans, and so therefore she didn't want to do it then. Probably, I would be willing to bet when Ruth was going to retire was whenever Hillary Clinton was going to become president, and she thought, well, when Hillary's in, I'll go ahead and in the first 6 months of her administration, then I'll go in and proclaim that I'm going to retire. That would be it. She'd be out. But she didn't do it because Donald Trump. Donald Trump won the presidency. So Ruth stayed in. And I imagine that Ruth has been trying her best to see if that she can live long enough and stay on the bench long enough to overcome the existence of his administration. And I'm sure she was hoping that Biden would win this the next election and that a Democrat would be able to replace her on the court. Unfortunately, her body didn't have the stamina that her mindset had. So, Ruth has died. Now, the question here that we should ask ourselves, or that's being asked, is that should Donald Trump elect another Supreme Court judge? Now, just this last Saturday, he's nominated Amy to the Supreme Court. I like Amy, and I'm going to say more about Amy later on, but the point is that not only does he have the right, I believe that Donald Trump has the obligation as President of the United States to see to it that he does his job and appoint someone to the Supreme Court. It's the Senate's responsibility to take it from there and decide whether that individual will pass on and be confirmed as a Supreme Court judge. Donald Trump has done his part. He has done his constitutional part. He has picked a candidate who I believe is fantastic, although I would like to have seen, and I'll go into this later on, I'd like to see an all-male court. But if you're not going to pick a male, Amy is a very excellent candidate for the Supreme Court, and I fully back her. Ruth was nominated to the Supreme Court in 1993. You see, Byron White, Justice White, who was the last serving member of the Warren Court, resigned that spring in 1993. Once Judge White resigned, Bill Clinton nominated Ruth to the Supreme Court in June of that year, and then she was confirmed in July and installed in office in August of 1993. And there she sat on the court from 1993 until last week when she died. So she sat on the court for 27 years. Now, Judge White sat on the court for 31 years. He was nominated and installed into office on April the 12th, 1962, and left office on June 28th, 1993, serving a total of 31 fabulous years on the court. Now, Judge White was a conservative, although he was appointed by Kennedy. You see, this is a complete paradigm shift of what we have today. At that time and before then, you had presidents that looked mainly for centrists on the Supreme Court. People who were centered, not necessarily not right, not necessarily left, but that they would look at the Constitution. That was the main goal of every president up through recent times. And so it sounds foreign to us today that somebody like John Kennedy, who was a liberal Democrat, but not, when I say liberal Democrat, I don't mean the kind of liberal Marxist communist we have today. No. Let's get things straight. John F. Kennedy would not be elected based on the Democratic platform in 2020. In fact, he would probably not even qualify for the Republican platform. So all the liberals like to parade John F. Kennedy as their hero. But the fact is, Kennedy would not even qualify to be a Democrat today because they have moved so far left to the communist side. John Kennedy himself would reject the Democratic Party today. There's no doubt about that. My point is that Justice White was a conservative member, one of the last conservative members for the court when he resigned in 1993. And he was replaced what they thought that was going to be a centrist member of the court who turned out to be one of the most far-reaching left liberals you could get. Ruth was a huge advocate for women's rights and civil liberties and overall civil rights. Ruth says that she didn't believe in legislation from the bench. But on the other hand, there's a great deal that she passed which turned out to be exactly that, legislation from the bench. But I remember that day long ago in 1993 when Judge White called me to tell me that he was going to resign from the court. And that was the beginning of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's nomination to the Supreme Court. Yes?
Colonel, a call came in just now from Justice White. I have the justice on the line for you. Do you want to take it?
Yes, put him through, Trixie.
Okay, here he is.
Colonel Moore, how you doing?
Just fine, Your Honor. How's the last man on the Warren Court doing these days?